From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
Welcome aboard the Ear to There Podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney-specialized travel agency. And as I say each and every week, it is my job to take away all of that stress, all of that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip, because it takes an awful lot of time, so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And again, like I say each and every week, I take care of all of that at absolutely no extra cost to you. So I will find you the best possible price on your resort hotel room. I'll take care of all your dining reservations, your fast passes, special event tickets like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, golf tee times, transportation, rental cars, anything you could think of. I'll even help you book a couple days at that other park that shall not be named down the road. I do all of that at absolutely no extra cost to you. You can find this podcast, my blog, or request a free, no obligation quote over at ear2theretravel.com. All right, this is episode number 97 for the week of November 13th, 2017. Now, grab a hot chocolate or an eggnog. Grab a gingerbread man or a homemade piece of pumpkin pie. And as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. You may have noticed it. There's a chill in the air. All of the pumpkin flavors have been switched over to peppermint or mocha. And no stores, not even one, has any Thanksgiving decorations up at all. Yes, it's mid-November in America, which means it is Christmas time. And to me, there is no place on the planet that does Christmas like Walt Disney World. From the decorations at the resort hotels, to the decorations in the theme parks, to the changes in the music as you walk around or walk down Main Street, USA, to things like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, the Jingle Cruise, so many things that are happening in the parks and in the resorts this time of year. Honestly, there is no place I would rather be in mid-November than the most magical place on earth. So that's why this week I wanted to take a look at the Christmases past in Walt Disney World. So many things have come and gone in the parks and resorts, and I wanted to take some time to reflect on some of our favorite things about the past Christmases in Walt Disney World itself. So I tried to figure out a title for this episode. It was hard to do, so I'm going to call it Walt Disney World, The Ghosts of Christmases Past. So it's been a long while, actually, since I had my guest on this episode on the show. And that was for a reason. I waited because this guy can be a bit of a Grinch the rest of the year. So I waited for the weather to get cool and to talk about Christmas things with one of my favorite guests, Mr. Chuck Rodriguez. Welcome back to the show.
Phil, that is a very good strategy because, yes, I really am only a happy person in November and December. That's it.
I know. I've known. Now, listen, every episode that you've done, every single one, I've had people write to me and say that they enjoyed it. Every one. But I think they enjoy kind of our back and forth because you're, a pain in my rear end a little bit. And I think they enjoy that. But I think we might have a different dynamic. Well, we'll see. I was going to say we'll have a different dynamic on this one, but maybe we won't. Maybe it'll be the same. You never know. So
I do live to make people uncomfortable. That is my mantra.
It's true. Hey, what are you going to do? So everybody needs something. And that's your thing. But, all right. So what I tentatively had this episode titled as is Disney, the Ghosts of Walt Disney World's Christmas Pasts. Now that's way too long, so I got to work on that. I got to work on that title. It's not gonna. That's not what I'm going to put on the line when I put the episode up in a couple of days. But and like, you know what? This is funny. This is already a tangent. Like real podcasters, like people who are super good at this, they like batch record. So like this episode would have been recorded in like the summer, but I'm not like that. I wait.
Yeah.
I wait until I'm struggling to find someone. I'm like, Chuck, you need to get on and record a podcast.
And then you start texting everyone you know, begging for someone to have an hour off for Monday morning.
I'm like, do you have anything? Do you have a topic this week? Because I need something. If only that weren't true. But you know, as a dad and a husband.
And then, of course, once in a while, you completely give up and just get Amy to do it.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I hope she doesn't listen. She doesn't listen to the show anyway, so she won't.
Which, by the way, I have to admit, like I always say, I really only listen to the podcast that I'm in. But I did listen to the entire last one of you and her, and I absolutely loved it. I was cracking up.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, you know what's funny is I've heard. Don't tell her I said this, of course, and now thousands of people are going to hear this and know. But I got so many emails and instant messages, you know, text messages and Facebook messages of people saying how much they love her on the show. Like she's really funny. She's a funny lady, and people, you know. So I'm going to have her on more often, but don't tell her I said that because I don't need her getting all she's already cocky walking around the house, walking down the halls like a gunslinger. I don't need any more of that stuff in its house. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about is, and what we want to talk about this week is, like, are the old things that we miss or that we remember from Christmas in Walt Disney World? Because it is, listen, nobody does Christmas like Disneyland or Walt Disney World. It's phenomenal there. It always has been. It's always been great. They've always had just the greatest, coolest like special events and decorations and things to do in the hotels, the resorts, and Disney Springs now, and it's just amazing. So we'll get to all the current stuff at the end. But to start off, I wanted to talk about the old stuff. Like, let's talk about the stuff that's not there anymore, or that, you know, that we used to enjoy, we used to love about Christmas and not just Christmas, the whole season, right? I mean, it's already Christmas in Walt Disney.
I mean, it really is just Christmas, but yes, it's all November, December, basically.
Yeah, it's the whole, and then into January a little bit, you get a couple.
Yeah, they take a little time to put the stuff off. Yeah,
but I love, because for me as a runner and doing the marathon weekend every year, I love that they wait until after marathon weekend is over to take the decorations down at Magic Kingdom, because it's way cooler running down Main Street when it's just, you know, the sun's just coming up. If you're like me, the sun's just coming up. If you're fast, you're going through when it's still dark.
Right, it's still dark.
I'm not that fast. I'm not that good.
It's like 4:20 by the time you get to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. I'm rolling in, getting popcorn on Main Street. Yeah, families are like so annoyed because I'm still there and they can't walk down Main Street yet. But like that's why I love being able to go marathon weekend. But there's other stuff too that's going on that we miss and that you know used to be there. So I'm wondering, let's go through it, and you start us off and let me know, like, what's one thing that you used to do in Walt Disney World for Christmas, or it used to have and they don't have it anymore?
Okay, well, I'm actually going to start with the one that inspired me to actually suggest this podcast.
Yes, you did come up with a topic.
Yeah,
I was not kidding.
Yeah, I really did. And by coincidence, I mean, I think you had texted me the morning after I went to the studios, and the studios was the first park this year, you know, to put up their Christmas decorations, and a lot of it is new because of the new projections and the whole Sunset Boulevard, you know, Christmas thing that they're doing this year. But so I remembered that the old Christmas decorations on Hollywood Boulevard, which obviously were very well themed to decorations that would have been around in the 40s and 50s, my first Christmas tree in my apartment in Celebration, which is when I lived near your wife and met her, that tree was completely inspired by exactly what the trees at then MGM, Disney MGM Studios had. So people think this is crazy, but I actually spent an entire year looking for decorations that would have existed in the 40s and 50s. Like it would have been glass, or it would have been lights that are not like LED lights, or bubble lights and decorations that would have actually existed in order for me to match exactly what was on the trees in Hollywood Studios at the time.
So I like that. So you had like the Christmas Story kind of Christmas tree. Is it like with the big colored lights and all?
Because I used the lights were those big clear, and Christmas decoration maniacs like myself would know what this means. The C9 bulbs, and then I actually at the time Target was still selling replacement bulbs that blinked. So I replaced like every fourth bulb in each color in order to blink. And then I also bought bubble lights because back then they were still, actually they're still selling bubble lights this year, I've noticed. And then all the ornaments had to be glass the way that they would have made them back in the day, not like, shatterproof. Like now I have everything is shatterproof.
Not everything, trust me. You've never decorated a tree with a 4 or a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Not everything is shatterproof still.
Well, the funny thing is my tree now actually is all shatterproof, even though I don't have a child or a cat. Or a dog in my apartment, but that's because it's just so cheap. It's just so affordable. So
I was going to say, is it because of your late night benders that you worry about walking into the tree?
I get a little too drunk with the eggnog, and then I just jump into the Christmas tree. Yes.
Yeah, your nieces, your brother tells your nieces, don't go near Uncle Chuck when he's having too much eggnog.
when he had 3 or more cups of eggnog, don't get him out there.
He gets a little weird with the tree.
Yes, a little bit. And then the thing that always drives people crazy is that I admit that, so at the time, I don't know if you remember this, but at the time, off of John Young Parkway in the Hunters Creek area here in Orlando, there actually was an all-year-round Christmas decoration store. And I went there the day after Christmas and bought these extremely fancy, old school, vintage looking glass candy canes that each one cost me $16 after the discount. And I bought like 10 of them.
And you're not even using those anymore?
No, I still have them, but except that my brother and sister-in-law use it on their tree because their tree is red and white themed and my tree, now is not. So I don't use them. They use them.
I love that you guys have your themes for your tree. Like we don't have a theme. We just put up stuff that.
But I think part of it was I'm inspired by Disney World. I mean, I've been at Disney World for Christmas time regularly since I guess 1997, and Disney has a different color scheme and theme for every single area, and so that's definitely an inspiration.
That's really cool. Like I found out a couple years ago that I think I'm allergic to like a certain kind of tree because I would always get sick around Christmas. So we get like the expensive. Trees? What's that?
You mean you're allergic to real trees?
Yeah. So we get we get the white spruce now, which is a really cool looking Christmas tree. Yeah. Really neat shape. But we used to get the other, I don't remember what the other ones were called, the fir or whatever, Douglas fir. And I think I'm allergic to it because I never had a test on. So I can't say that that's true. But literally, we would bring a tree in, and I wouldn't stop sneezing and coughing until the tree was out of the house. But I still bought it every year because I'm a maniac and I love Christmas. And I'm not going with the fake tree. I'm just not. It's just me. You know me, Chuck. I have my hang-ups.
You have taken a look in Home Depot or Lowe's lately. The trees that are artificial trees that are made now, they're each little I don't even know what you call it, but each little green thing on each little branch is made with like a laser. It looks exactly like a real tree.
But it's not real. That's the thing. It doesn't smell like a real tree. Like I want to come down my stairs.
Sprays and Febrezes for that.
No, and I'm weird with that stuff. I do plugins only.
All right, okay, but at least you found a tree that does not make you sneeze.
Yeah, That's so but it costs you like $100. The darn thing. They're expensive, these trees. But we get those, and my kid, now this year a 7-year-old and 2 5-year-olds, you let them loose on a Christmas tree. And listen, the only thing I have control over is the lights. I did make the switch over to LEDs, so I have the LED lights.
Yeah, I did too.
And I don't go blinking lights except for one string.
Oh, me.
Right. I do one string of blinks, and the rest of them don't blink. So, and I like that real slow fade in and fade out blinking. I don't like it. Yeah. I don't like it too fast. I like it where you have to stare at it to even know that it's blinking. That's so you can see this weird obsession. I have a lot of them, but this is one of them. Like the tree is something I'm very particular about, but the ornaments I can't be particular about because we have a lot of Disney ornaments, a ton of them. We have some that move, we have some that play music, but like 70% of the ornaments on our tree now our kids have made. And listen, I love my children, but some of them are just, we have them up there because you have to. I'm not thrilled about the the candy cane that has bugs on it from last year that I have to put up on the tree. But we're gonna do it anyway.
I honestly want to take this time to actually say this, because I talk about this all the time. But I think in this case, maybe with people listening to the podcast, perhaps people can actually post, in the comment section, what in the world is wrong with having a second smaller tree somewhere in the house with your kids' ugly decorations? I don't know what's wrong with it. As a child, or if I was a parent, I do not see what's wrong with it.
Because they're proud that it's their stuff on the big tree.
There's another tree. You could have two trees. You have a big enough home.
I can have two trees. Yeah, we have the estate now. We moved to the ear to their estate. We're up on a hill. I have my bat cave that's built in under the house. Yeah, but I mean, I do it literally. We have a couple rooms that we can put trees in. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe this year we will. Well,
I want to know from listeners. I want to know how many people have a second tree for those types of ornaments, or how many moms put the kids' ornaments on the back of the tree, because that's what my mother used to do.
Oh, my mom used to do that too.
Yeah.
We had when I grew up, we grew up in a row home in Philadelphia, and Chuck, you've been there to where I used to live, and it. We had the tree would be in the living room right when you walked in the door. There was a little landing that you would walk up the steps on the other side of the wall in the dining room, and there was a cutout where you could reach the back of the tree, like a cutout into the living room, like like an upside down U-shaped cutout. That's where all the ornaments would go. Our homemade ones were good. You could see them from the dining room, but not from the living room.
Right. That makes sense.
Like I don't know if you guys did this, it was like a tradition in my family to save the first pair of baby shoes and put them on the tree. I don't know if that's like a...
Actually, my family used to bronze them and make them into bookends. I'm not kidding.
No way.
Yes.
That's better than what we did.
Before I finally moved away and went to college, I still had in my bedroom, in my bookshelves, my books were held by my baby shoes bronzed. Yes.
Were they the sandals that you wore on the raft over from Cuba?
We didn't have shoes.
All right. I'm going to get some. No, that's going to get somebody mad. I'm allowed to make that joke. I have a Cuban friend. All right. So the Christmas decorations, obviously, in the Hollywood studios, that's really cool. We don't have a theme. We just go with whatever decorations we have that year. Like my house, listen, we've gotten better. In my living room, we have these two really nice bookcases around the fireplace. So we decorated really well for the fall. So we're going to do the same thing for the winter. We're going to have, maybe we'll have a little tree or two there with some decorations on it. I don't know. We have to see. But, all right. So moving on from those. And I honestly never noticed that those decorations on not Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard. You said Sunset, right? Or was it Hollywood?
No, it's actually Hollywood.
Hollywood Boulevard. Do they still do the old school decorations from that era?
The trees that are in the lampposts, maybe they're a little bit different now, but the big tree, which, for years and years was outside of the park, right. Now it's in an island in the middle of Echo Lake. The tree still is technically the same exact decor that I based my tree, back in the day. I guess that would have been Christmas of 2003. Except that they did switch to LED lights, like everybody has, of course.
Yeah. And it's safer. They're just safe to use.
It makes it look completely not 1940s and 50s, but it is what it is because they're just so efficient.
And those trees are cool. I saw when they were breaking them out of the warehouses on property. I mean, and they just bring them out in sections on a truck and just kind of move them out to the wood and screw them together, plug it in, and there you go. It's pretty cool.
That in the malls. That's how they do the trees in the malls.
Yeah, it's very cool. And it looks great. I mean, anyway, the decorations all over Walt Disney World. We'll get to that. All right, so I want to get to one of mine.
Yeah, what's yours? I'm curious.
So mine are very much ones that I experienced in, my earlier years and going. And all right, so my first one that I want to talk about. Do you remember when the Disney, hold on, let me, I want to get the right phrasing.
Okay.
The Christmas Day Parade in Walt Disney World was live every year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, usually with Regis Philbin and a woman Morning America.
Yeah, so it started out as a live show on CBS, I think in 83. I think it was, I'm trying to look it up and see when. I think 83 was the first year that they did it live.
That makes sense. I looked that up before too. It should be around 83.
And I think it was from 83 until 96, maybe a little later. I'm trying to say that it was live. Let's say, choo. I'm looking to try to figure out. Yeah, so it's been aired every single year since 83 when it was live until now. But it used to be, now it's taped in November. And I believe last year's was mostly just the Disneyland one that they played on ABC. Of course, in 96, Disney bought ABC, and then the parade moved from CBS to ABC then. But yeah, you used to have like Regis was the host. The first one was Joan London and Mike Douglas. Then Alan Thicke went on to host the live shows, and then Regis came on as the full host. And then, of course, his little sidekick Kelly Ripa came on. And
nothing, but I have a feeling it was always ABC, even though Disney had no affiliation, because all those people were on ABC shows. So I have a feeling it's always been on ABC.
So that is not true. So until the early... I have facts. I'm sorry, Chuck.
The one blue moon that I'm wrong.
I'm armed with facts today, bud. You gotta. So until the early 90s, it was broadcast live on CBS every Christmas Day. And then when in 1996 was the first year that it moved to ABC.
Okay.
And Disney did, I think Disney used to do a Thanksgiving Day thing with CBS as well back in the day. But
yeah, I used to remember that. They used to just show clips of parades all over the country, including New York, but they would also do Disney's. Yeah,
so, but now, now that it's very different. The parade on Christmas Day in Walt Disney World isn't the big, on Main Street, isn't the big, crazy live parade that it used to be. Which is kind of a bummer to me. I like the live stuff.
But basically, it makes perfect sense. There's too many people that week now.
It does. It's just too crowded, and yeah, it makes sense to me. But I used to love, and my kids and I will watch on Christmas morning. We'll still put the parade on, and they don't know that it was taped a month before, a month and a half. We know, and it annoys me. I'm a traditionalist, man. I love the old stuff, so I'm watching. And I'm like, you are not singing that right now. I'm like, Ariana Grande, that was a month ago. Even I don't know. I don't think she's been asked back. I think it was like this year. It's going to be Julianne Hough and Nick Lachey.
Yes, and Hanson, because I was at the taping of Hanson.
Oh, Hanson's going to be on it. Yeah, and who's the girl? The one from the Descendants, who's the pop star.
I don't know her name. I don't know.
Alexa would kill me if I forgot. Sophia Carson is her name.
Okay.
She's going to be one of the singers during the show, during that special. Yeah, now it's like an hour-long special. It's more of a kind of hour-long commercial for the parks.
Remember, starting last year, they did a special on Thanksgiving night, then another special, like that was on the Disney Channel, and then finally the parade on Christmas morning.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a little overkill. Together. It's overkill for me. It's a lot.
It is overkill, but it makes sense because they have the outlet, so might as well.
And yeah, and they, it's fine. Disney, do what you want. But I liked when it was a live parade back in the day. That was I liked watching it on Christmas Day. I mean, it was exciting for me as a kid, especially as a kid. Listen, in the early days, I had never been to Disney World, so seeing it all decked out for Christmas and the live, the celebrities and Mickey Mouse, and it was really super. And I'd never been there, so I never seen Cinderella Castle in person. It was very, very cool. So I miss it, but I get it. I get why it's changed now. But it's one of those things.
But I remember when I started working at Disney towards the late 90s and working with people who had been working at Disney, through the 80s and 90s. And they used to talk about how when they would have the live taping on ABC, they would always show the temperature and always show that it was always sunny. And they used to comment on it constantly. And that was partly because back then people could actually be persuaded to come to Disney World mostly because of, to get away from the up north weather and to come down during the winter because it was dead during the winter. Of course, now that exists because now it's crowded every single day of the year. It doesn't matter. But back then, that was actually a reason for people to come down, not because they just are obsessed with Disney. So the rumor was that sometimes if it was on Christmas Day, if it was actually cloudy or a little chilly, that they would actually fake it.
How did they fake it? They had like those long wide shots.
I've thought about this before. It's come up in conversation years ago. I think they just would have basically been like, well, people aren't like now where we could instantly on our phones know what the weather is in Orlando, no matter where we live in the planet. But back then, people wouldn't have bothered to go to that much trouble. Like they would have to call somebody they knew and been like, "What's the weather like today?" So
why did you turn into a sassy weather person there?
I think they were able to fudge it a little bit. I think is what they meant.
All right. Well, anyway, that's a weird thing that they would do, but that's fun anyway. All right, man. So Chuck, what do you got? What other things do you miss?
Well, affiliated with that because
Okay.
my first Christmas at Disney actually was Christmas of 1985, where famously I gave the line, which I still say to this day, which is we wasted most of our Christmas vacation seeing our family in Miami, but on the way to Miami, we did spend
Such a sentimental guy you are.
especially since now they're all dead. Now I feel bad. But anyway, we went Magic Kingdom on December 22nd and Epcot on December 23rd. So I missed out, obviously, on seeing the parade on the 25th. But from back then all the way until only a few years ago, I miss the garlands that used to go across Main Street, USA with the middle with the big candle.
Yep.
Yes, that's a very nice decoration. And I know it's just logistics as to why they had to take it down and switch it out with, those big wreaths and bells that they put off of each lamppost, I think is what they're doing now, because the floats have gotten too high and they would hit them. But yes, I miss that look. I think that really added to the what's supposed to be like the early 20th century, turn of the century feel of Main Street.
You know what, Chuck? That's a great one, and I loved that look, and I do miss it. For some reason, the pictures of Main Street at Christmas now, the promotional ones that Disney puts out, like the nighttime ones, where everything's lit up. It doesn't look as good. It just doesn't.
Oh, and it is part of that. Yes.
Like it's a big deal, and yeah, you're right. Could you imagine a Maleficent dragon coming down and lighting one of those garland strings on fire? That would be a problem.
I think they've had to do the same thing at Disneyland Paris because the floats are too tall now.
Yeah, and listen, it makes sense, and I get it, but you almost wish they would put on a different daily parade around Christmas. I know they would never because it's too expensive.
Or just a Christmas parade in the afternoon.
Yeah, instead of the Festival of Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then bring back Festival of Fantasy after the season.
But that's a logistical nightmare because then all the actors in different costumes, and then they would have to actually do different dance moves. It's like a whole thing.
Right. Agreed. I get it. But yeah, I do miss that. You know what's funny is you've seen my Olszewski Disneyland collection, my platform. There was a guy who was he had one of those 3D printers. And one of those darn 3D printers, I feel it sounds like an old man saying that, but he actually 3D printed those pieces that you could hang up on your buildings.
That makes sense.
For Christmas for your set. So
of course, good.
It's really cool, and they light up, and they have like a little LED LED in them with a battery, so the middle of them lights up, and you light up your Main Street. Really cool. I haven't had them because mine isn't on display right now because I don't have room, so it's in my garage and under a tarp. But eventually I have to put mine back out. But that is one that I really miss, and I agree. It doesn't quite feel the same without it. So all right, so going on decorations, I'm gonna mention one of my. Now it's a big one though, Chuck. So you'll have to kind of talk about it too. And I already know. The Osborne lights, right? Of course.
Obviously.
Everyone misses the Osborne. What was it? The Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights. But the first time I ever saw them was when they were on the back lot. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course. On the Golden Girls house. And the house. Yeah, of course.
So you used to, and you never got to walk down that street.
No.
But when Disney first introduced the Osborne lights, they were on the backlot street of those. Yeah, and they would put them on the Golden Girls house and the Empty Nest house and whatever else Disney Channel shows they had the facades.
The Ernest
yeah,
movie.
The Ernest house, right. And you would get to walk down that street and experience the Osborne lights there. And it was really, really cool to be able to walk. Well, you felt like you were doing something you shouldn't be doing because it was like this back, this movie set Which, by the way, I never knew that they were just reproductions until like 10 years ago. I always thought they were the real shots for the real houses, and turns out those were out in L.A.
Houses that people live in that they pay them to, like when you had that supermarket commercial thing. It's the same thing.
Right. Yes. They did film a supermarket commercial in my house and out, and I was so bummed when that commercial came on because you can't tell it's my house at all. Like, you see a backyard and a garage. It could be anyone's yard and garage. Right. But of course, they were in my kids, and they kicked Alexa out of her bedroom at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they set up like director's chairs in there so they could watch the filming. It was crazy, but it was an experience. Hey, we got $1,000 for one day for that. That was cool. Can't really beat it. They cleaned up after themselves. We got all the leftover food from like the catering. It was great.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
That was cool. Anyway, so yeah, they weren't the actual houses, but while everybody else misses, I think, the New York Street version of the Oswald lights, I really liked it when they were in the back lot. I thought that was cool, and it was different. I, for one, listen, the Oswald lights were very cool. It's something that people are really gonna, they were bummed about them going away, and they're still bummed about it. For me, I'm onward and upward. I'm ready for Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land, and I'll miss them, but I still think we're going to have cooler things in that part of the park.
Well, you get no argument with me. I mean, I'm the person who I can completely separate the fact that, yes, of course, there's a part of me that will actually miss it because I did enjoy it year after year after year for, a huge portion of my life. But I'm okay with what's replacing, physically the space. And so far, I really like the actual Christmas thing that they're doing at the studios starting this year with the projections using new technologies and stuff. It's a good alternative. I like it.
Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam.
I'm not a humongous fan of Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam.
No.
I don't think it's awesome, but
I kind of want to scream the Bam part.
The Sunset Boulevard stuff, that's a really great idea, using the new trendy technology of projection mapping and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I said we would get into that at the end, and I still do want to, but just now that you brought it up, what was your opinion of that? Like, you sent me the video. I'm going to be down
at night, so I have not seen it full, but it's great. I mean, I don't know why they haven't been projecting stuff in the Tower of Terror for years.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really cool from the video. When I first heard about it, I put a link to like an article or a picture on my Facebook page, and I got to be honest, almost no one liked it. Like, everyone was like, "Oh no, I don't want this." But once everyone realized it was just a projection, and
yes, I was gonna. Of course, I would have. I just can't help myself. If I had commented at that moment when I was reading those comments, I would have said something that would have made people very upset. But because that's just my way. But yes, I mean, it never occurred to me. I knew it wasn't an overlay. It's literally just a projection on a building where you can project onto a building. It had nothing to do with the Tower of Terror ride whatsoever.
No, right. They've been doing it to Spaceship Earth for
and now they're going to do it with Star Wars also, that they're projecting Star Wars scenes on it for the next Star Wars, whatever they call it, those nights where you have to...
Galactic Nights or whatever.
Yeah, I always forget what it's called.
Listen.
It's fine.
Star Wars will have to be a completely... I'm going to have to do a Star Wars episode of the podcast because I'm so excited about all the Star Wars stuff. And not just Galaxy's Edge. I mean, like, the movie and then now the announcement that there's going to be a new trilogy. That's going to be cool. Anyway.
Yeah. No big surprise. I mean, I knew that.
Oh, they had to, right? That they have this huge intellectual property. They got to do something with it.
The TV show, which will only be available if you have the on-demand service, that's genius, because that's how CBS All Access got me, because I wanted to see The Good Fight and the new Star Trek show, and you can't see it if you have regular CBS. So that's pretty smart of them. We're going to be subscribing.
Oh, I know, and it's another thing that I had to pay a monthly fee for, right? Like everything else, like I'm like Netflix and Amazon, and Amazon Prime though is one of the smartest things. I love Amazon Prime. It's one of the smartest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Today, Amy was like, "Our scale's broken in the bathroom." I was like, "Boop!" I went on my phone and new scale. Monday. Right. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on the tower projection because it looked really cool to me. I know a lot of people weren't happy with it, but. Listen, I'm all for Christmas stuff, and it doesn't have to be scary every day. Like, let it be fun. Let it be, it's cool, and that park needs something for Christmas because it's been...
Because they got rid of the Osborne lights.
And there's so much construction and so much closed down over there right now, and they need something. So, I'm excited about that. All right, so I don't know whose turn that was. That was my turn. So
That was
yeah, so like again, this isn't like a top 10 list or anything like that. We're just kind of going back and forth. What else? What else do you have? What else did you want to bring up?
Well, the next one, not much to say about it, but I do miss the Country Bears Christmas overlay.
On my list. Me too.
Rufus, I need a little light down here. Thanks, Rufus. And now, here's a little gal who's sure to break the ice at any skating party. Our own Trixie.
Oh, the lake's all frozen over. Got my skates and I'm ready to go. But I'm waiting for my honey, 'cause I can't skate if he don't show.
Sing it, gal.
But he's in his cave just snoring. I hear you in there, baby, and don't think I don't.
I know you do.
Well,
I mean, I watched it every single year. I appreciate the fact that there's Jingle Cruise now, which I do love, but I do miss the Country Bears Christmas, holiday overlay. I love that thing.
I did too. It was one, again, I think I read about it today, doing a little research, and yesterday. And apparently it was stopped. I thought it was stopped just for production, like because it costs money to switch it in and out. No, apparently they stopped doing it because of the copyright issues with the music. That they lost some copyrights. They couldn't do a lot of the songs anymore. So they stopped doing it. Now, it's rumored that it could be coming back. I've read it. And that, take that with a grain of salt because it's a rumor and it's the internet and who knows.
That most Christmas songs are in public, whatever they call that, public use. I don't know what the word is.
Right. So in 2000,
public domain.
Public domain is right. In 2005, the big hang up just from little research that I did, I didn't go into it too deeply, but Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was a song that they weren't able to use any longer. And they used that a couple times in the show, if I remember. It started off the show, I think, and then it ended. There was like a medley at the end with Rudolph in it as well, and they couldn't do either. So that kind of had to change the whole show around. So that's why I stopped doing it. It's what I've heard. But yeah, it was a really fun thing to do. I like the overlays like that. Like I'm not a big, I'm a hypocrite though because I don't like Nightmare Before Christmas. So I don't like the idea of the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay in a Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. I just don't like it. But I heard it's really well done. I've never even done it, so I shouldn't really talk about it. No,
you shouldn't, because you're wrong anyway. So,
so wait, have you done it? Have you done it out there?
No, I haven't done it. I've watched it on YouTube. But regardless, if I watched, I'm not a humongous fan of The Night Before Christmas. I've seen it a handful of times, including when it did come out in the theaters, way back when. But as a fan of the Haunted Mansion, I've got no problem with the fact that 2 months out of the year, I get to see my favorite ride in a different way. That's all.
I get it. That's fine with that's the way you want to go. Yeah, all right. I just don't love the movie. It's not my movie. It's not, people love it. It's a very polarizing, I think, movie. People love it or you don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm one of those. Anyway, I make so many enemies every time I bring that up on the show. So many people don't like me right now. So I should stop talking about it. But yeah, Country Bear Christmas overlay. The Country Bear Christmas Special was the name of it. Is one that I really missed. That was a fun one. I would love for them to bring it back, even if they changed it and changed some of the music.
Yeah, they'll change it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine with me. All right, so another one. Okay, Chuck, this one is another really big one that went away in, 2005 as well?
Okay.
2000. Now I can't find the year. 2009 maybe was the last year for it. The Epcot Lights of Winter.
Oh, yes. I figured you would say that one. Yes.
Dude, another one that didn't have to go away. I loved it. It was, for those who didn't really know what it was basically when you leave Future World and go into World Showcase, it was this really cool, light show that they would have set the music, and it was really, really neat. And I think their reason was really, and listen, you know me, I'm such a pro Disney guy, and I love everything Disney does. But the reason for why they got rid of the Lights of Winter was pretty lame. They said that the technology was out of date and obsolete, and that they would be bringing something in new to replace it. and then they just didn't replace anything. They didn't put anything in. And that's another one that's been rumored to be coming back in some way, shape, or form throughout, last almost 10 years, 8, 9 years, but it hasn't come back. And I miss that. I really liked that aspect of going to Epcot at night and having this whole different kind of light show to walk through. I mean, it's, again, Disney does a lot for Christmas still, but these are things that I miss.
I mean, I agree. I did enjoy it, but I can totally agree with the fact that its time had come, because there are, by the time that the Lights of Winter was done, the Osborne lights had multiplied by 1,000 times how big and popular it was, and it is technically true, as a person who is obsessed with Christmas lighting and decorating. Yes, technically the lights and the way that the show would have been controlled at the time by a computer and whatnot was completely outdated. Obviously, nowadays, any one of us normal average person can just go to Walgreens and buy a $60 box that does the same thing in our own house. But back then, it would have been a big deal to switch it. And they probably felt like there's so many other things around Walt Disney World that are similar or just as good or better that why bother? And so they didn't.
You know what's funny, Chuck, about you? Sometimes I'm like, he's going to be totally with me on this. And I am so wrong. I thought you would be like, yeah, the lights. I love Christmas lights. And instead, you're like, nah, whatever. It's fine. I really thought you would back me up on that. But, hey, listen, we don't always see eye to eye, and there you go. No, I did like them, though. You're right. You're exactly right. If you just watch that Christmas house decorating show that ABC's been doing the last couple of years. Oh, yeah. These people are nuts, the stuff that they do. And you're right. You have, you and I could go.
Anyone can do it. You could do it if you weren't lazy and just had one ugly tree with your children's ornaments on it. Totally.
You should have seen. Now, listen. Dude, you want to talk about laziness? Last year, so we had just moved into our, we had been in our house 6 months. I can't say we just moved in. So we moved into our house 6 months before, and it was time to decorate, and I was like, it was cold. And I was like, I don't really feel like stringing lights up outside. And I know I should do something because it's Christmas. So you want to talk about the ultimate lazy guy's way out? I went and bought a couple of those projectors that you plug in and you put outside your house that project things onto your house. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't string anything up. We hung a wreath. We hung a couple of wreaths that lit up outside. That's the only hanging I did.
Oh, well, they lit up. That's something.
Yeah, and we had the lights that change. You can, that we would have different colored lights on the house every night that were projected. They didn't actually hang on, but they looked nice. But you got to see some of my neighbors, man. Some of my neighbors, they take it up tremendous notches. They had this. I have a neighbor down the street that has, they decorate with all the wreaths and the lights and all that. But then they have this crazy projection system that does movies on the outside of their house. It's like this green and red green and red projection show, and it says Noel, and then there's a gingerbread cookie that gets eaten, and then there's marching toy soldiers, and
they
Santa,
sell all these things at Walgreens now, and they're only between $50 and $70.
Yeah, I got to up my game this year. I got to go get one of those. I think my kids would freak out if I had one of those in the house.
I remember last year, Amy sending me pictures of your home at Christmas, and I said, "Oh, how nice," because I was pretending not to judge you all.
Listen, Chuck. We have upped our game significantly. Amy, and Amy's not even. She's Amy's Jewish, right? So, but she has become the Merry Christmas Jewish lady, is what she is. She loves Christmas. It's the funniest thing because she grew up with Christmas was a small part of her life. And she, it was, they celebrated it too. They had, Santa came to their house and gave her and her sister presents when they were kids and all that. But as an adult, she is morphed into Mrs. Christmas. Oh my God, she's, and I'm a big Christmas fan. She's more into it than I am. She loves it. So it's funny to see the transformation. And last year, I have to say, she spearheaded the effort to get the inside of the house decorated way more than I did. And this year, she's already on it, man. She's already been to, the stores buying Christmas decorations for the inside of the house. So you have to give us a little bit of credit. We did up our game a bit.
The pictures, I don't have to judge. I can actually be genuine in the fact that I say it's nice.
All right. What else? Did you have anything else on your
I
list?
do have a quick one, which is a weird one. I know you never would have thought about it, but I remember reading about this years ago. Remember when there was the Disney News magazine? Before then, they called themselves Disney Magazine, but before that, it was Disney News.
Yep.
So I've been fascinated about this for years, and every once in a while, there's something that mentions it. And it was actually Disneyland, not Walt Disney World. But do you ever hear about how for years they used to put a humongous star on the top of the Matterhorn?
No, I don't even know about that.
Huge star on the top of the Matterhorn. Look it up. You'll see pictures. And I read that officially at some point in the 70s during the oil, the energy crisis, they took it down because it probably used up a lot of electricity. And then they never did it again. But it was this incredibly huge, beautiful star at the top of the Matterhorn.
I'm looking it up right now, and that is really cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I'm like, wow, that's really. I don't know why they wouldn't have. Well, I guess now because you could just project mapping something even cooler onto the Matterhorn. I suppose that's why there's no point. There's no point in sticking a humongous, physical object that you have to take forever to create and maintain.
Yeah, I mean, that's a question that I want to ask Bob Gurr when I have him on next time.
Oh, good point.
About that star and about if he. Because there's a picture that I'm looking at right now of Walt Disney I don't know what year this is, riding down in the car that Bob Gurr designed for him, one of those little electric cars, and the Matterhorn is behind him with the star. So I'm sure he had something to do with that.
As much as I love decorations and whatnot, I also understand that things evolve like they're supposed to, and now with the technology we have with LED and with project mapping, there might not be a need for something like that anymore. That is very cumbersome and has a lot of maintenance involved.
There's you have to bring in cranes to put it up and install it every year. I wonder if it still exists. I'm going to do a little bit of research on that.
Right, it might be in the back of in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, it's like in somebody's office, like in backstage at Disneyland somewhere. I was just saying, I think I was talking to somebody recently on the podcast that when they started doing the construction for Star Wars Land and Disneyland for Galaxy's Edge, the old the trails, they're all still there from Frontierland. They were back behind Big Thunder Ranch.
Sure.
And they're still there now. Currently, you can walk those old trails, and I think they might be incorporating some of it into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge because they want to save that, that remnant. I mean, that was there in 1955, so they want to save that remnant of Disneyland history. So how cool is that stuff still exists? I had no idea that was back there.
Note to self: next time I go to Disneyland and I walk in that area, I'm going to go hee-haw, hee-haw, hee-haw.
All right, Dominic the Donkey, man.
Dominic the Donkey, hee-haw, hee-haw.
That's
Italian Christmas donkey.
It's one of the worst Christmas songs ever. It's a terrible song. That and I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. My kids love both of them, and I can't stand them. Yeah. Oh, man. Let's talk.
Have one more.
I really didn't. I had there was, I forget the name of it. There was a show at the Contemporary, a dinner that you could do.
Oh, yes, in the convention center. I remember. I never went, but we almost did a couple times.
Yeah, it was like Mickey's Jolly Holiday or something like that.
Yeah,
it was a holiday dinner show that you could do in the convention center at the Contemporary. Yeah. I think they stopped doing that in 98 or 97, something like that.
I'm surprised they don't have. I mean, that's a easy way to make $100 off each person. 100 people a night every night for 2 months. I'm surprised they don't have something like that now.
Well, right now they have Chef Mickey over there, right? So Chef Mickey's has been relocated to that.
No, Holly Jolly. Oh, you mean Chef Mickey's is temporarily in the convention center?
Yeah, because they're working. I
didn't realize that. I mean, I'd heard something, but I didn't realize that was happening already.
Yeah, they're working on Chef Mickey's now. But
I mean, there are 15 convention centers on property. I'm sure they can find room somewhere.
It's true. There is a lot of space. Yeah. You ever walk around what is it, Boardwalk, and there's so much space down there with all the convention space that they have. It's crazy. Yeah.
And, speaking of that, actually, I wonder for the people out there who listen who are or were cast members, and because I have to end with something slightly grinchy, I remember back in the 90s when many, many departments at Disney would have actual holiday parties, and they would have them at the convention centers. And I remember, when I was at Disney Institute, that was a huge great party to look forward to. And one year it was at Coronado Springs Ballroom, and then another year it was at a ballroom in the Contemporary. And those were like huge, great, lavish holiday parties to look forward to at the end of each year. Now, of course, they just give every cast member like a couple of coupons for a free popcorn and a free soda when next time they go to the party.
I was going to say, at those old cast member parties, there was lots of eggnog for Uncle Chuck. Didn't want to be around Uncle Chuck. It got a little ornery at the end of the evening with all that eggnog. You know what's funny is they used to do a cast member party at the Magic Kingdom up until '94, I think. Never,
but yes, I think that was after my time.
Yeah, so they would shut down Magic Kingdom for a night, and all the cast members would get to come in. And
Disneyland, I think, used to do that way past when Walt Disney World stopped doing it.
Yeah, it's a bummer they don't do stuff like that anymore. But again, Disney's a business,
but it is logistics. Reason they don't do the live parade on the 25th anymore.
Right, Anyway, but there is we were talking about stuff that they used to have, and I wanted to quickly talk about the things that you can do still in Walt Disney World. So you're going. We just talked about it before we hit record. You're going. What, today? You're going tomorrow? You were there last week?
Yes, last night I was at Disney Springs, all day today, Magic Kingdom, and tomorrow Epcot with family that came down from New York.
So let's go for Chuck's, as we're going to keep staying on this podcast, Uncle Chuck's top things to do at Christmas now in Walt Disney World. What are you looking forward to doing with your nieces or your family? What are you guys going to be up to?
Well, I do hope if we get Fast Pass, because my family at this point refuses to wait more than 11 minutes on any attraction. The Jingle Cruise, because I do actually like the Jingle Cruise. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It could have been better, but it's cute, and I do like to do it at least once every single year. You know what I really love, and this is the second year, and they've already expanded it. I didn't get to do last night because we got there too late because we went to the movie first. But in Disney Springs, the path with the trees. I don't know what the official name is. So you go down a path, and there are 25 Christmas trees that you walk past and can take pictures with, and each tree is themed to a different Disney character.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I didn't know about that.
Oh, it's great. It was there last year, and this year they've expanded it, and that's really great because it's free, first of all, which is amazing, and it's very elaborate, and it's over by where what's the toy store called? It was Once Upon a Toy.
Right. No, that's it. Yeah.
It's over by there, and it's a path that goes from there all the way to the bridge to go to Saratoga Springs.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that was there. I haven't been over the holidays seriously in 5 years, so I'm really excited. We're getting down there in a couple of weeks.
Cool, yes. And speaking of Disney Springs, last night I was there with folks who happened to not be here in Orlando last Christmas time, and they were so surprised. But of course, I had taken it for granted already. But the Christmas decorations that they came up with for the new section of Disney Springs, is it the Landing?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Those are so well done. They're perfect for the area because they're extremely elegant. And really, really nice. The Christmas decorations for the Landing, really, really nice.
I hope we get a chance to get over there because we're only going to be in the parks and at the Contemporary for 4 days. 4 nights, 5 days. So I don't know if we'll get a chance to get to Disney Springs.
I mean, just skip one of the other things that you've already done 35 times.
No, that's not how I roll, Chuck.
You come back in January, don't you?
I'm just myself. Just me.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, then I have nothing to look forward to in January. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I can't see. I couldn't convince Amy to let the kids out of school for another couple of days because Alexa's already missing, I think, 2 days on this trip. She's in first grade, and I guess now it's you can't do it. But yeah, it's just going to be me doing the marathon stuff. But, I'll be, of course, be nerding it out the rest of the time when I'm there.
Yeah, of course.
But, yeah, so, and then there's this stuff that everybody, that knows about, but I want to mention, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which we might do. I'm debating that or Hoop-de-Doo. What would you do if you were me?
Hoop-de-Doo. I have always said I do not feel like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is worth the money. I'm sorry. But personally, as a person who's here obviously every day of the year, and I don't think that the amount of stuff that you get to see that is specific to the party, as opposed to if you just go to the Magic Kingdom during a normal Christmas evening, I don't think it's worth it. The Halloween one, by far, I would go. If it wasn't because I went to Halloween Horror Nights instead every year, I would definitely buy a ticket for Mickey's Not So Scary.
Dude,
so
Chuck, I agree with you, man. And it's, again, like, I know that I'm a Disney travel agent and I sell Disney for a living, but I'm going to be honest.
Or marry regardless. My family who's here this week, I told them that 35 times over the summer, but they still book tickets for Mickey's Very Merry this week anyway, regardless.
yeah, people are going to do it, and I haven't done Very Merry in a long time, but I do like Not So Scary more. I think, like you said, you get more bang for your buck for that one. But that's why I'm kind of up in the air with my kids. I'm like, they've never done Hoop to Do, so I'm like, do we do Hoop to Do with them? But then Amy was, of course, my wife, always the downer. She was like, but they don't eat all that food. They're not going to eat the fried chicken. They're not going to eat the ribs. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So that's, but I want to do Hoop to Do so badly with them because I think it's
what you guys always do when you go to any restaurant. You just, out of your purse, you just bring out like Lunchables and like Goldfish.
First of all, I don't carry a purse.
I mean, together, because your parents have to accomplish that together, technically.
Yeah, we do. We have like crackers and peanut butter and whatever.
You go to the greatest restaurants on earth with the greatest foods on earth, and they still will eat their cheese and crackers and their little fruitables or whatever they call it.
Yeah, mac and cheese and applesauce in a pouch. Yeah, man. We listen. And Chuck, it's not for lack of trying. I've tried so many times. I had Alexa out for dinner last night, and we were, and I'm like, all right, look, we have this on the menu and this and this and this, and she's like, do they have Kraft mac and cheese? I'm like, yes. They have Kraft mac and cheese. She's like, I'll just get that. I'm like, all right, we gotta, they're not adventurous. We try. But then one thing I did want to mention that I love, and I know you're gonna make fun of me about this, but I don't care because this is my show and I can do what I want. Is I love the resorts, man. I love the way they're decorated at Christmas.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I still a little kick out of that. I mean, at this point in my life, I have to combine it with the fact that I might want to have a specific drink or a food item at the hotel.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's not good enough just to look at the decorations anymore like it used to be. but yes, no, that's fun as well. Yes.
Yeah, like I love the contemporary is good for Halloween. I'm sorry, for Christmas. I like that everything is themed to that resort. Like when you go to Port Orleans Riverside, the trees have like trumpets and then so like French Quarter is the same thing. Yeah, and then the Polynesians, it has the the different Polynesian style decorations and
things like that. Yeah, tropical stuff.
Right, but then you go to Wilderness Lodge, and that is my favorite place for Christmas.
Yeah,
in Walt Disney World, my favorite resort. That tree in Wilderness Lodge is the greatest. When you go in, what's that?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, just when you go in and the fireplace is roaring and the Christmas music is playing and the tree is like I don't know. I'm not good at math. It's like 30 or 40 stories tall, I think. And it's just, it's like 6 stories tall, really. But anyway, it's amazing. It's the coolest place to go. And again, I'd be nuts if I didn't mention the Grand Floridian with the gingerbread house, which is just incredible. Made out of real gingerbread, by the way. So, yeah, those things are just phenomenal, and you got to do them.
Let's not forget to mention, especially because obviously your clients would, ask you to do certain upcharge things. The candlelight processional, especially if you combine it with, because it's so difficult to get to get a seat if you don't combine it with the restaurant. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep.
Oh, sorry. The candlelight processional, honestly, no jokes aside, it doesn't matter if you're religious or not. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or not. That is a great show, and that is worth seeing. And I do try to go personally. My friends and I do try to go several times, depending on who's the narrator, of course. Some narrators we prefer to see than other narrators just because we just like them as celebrities.
Sure.
But that is a great show, and to combine it with a reservation at an Epcot restaurant is really, really worth the money, because you're going to want to eat at Epcot regardless, a nice dinner. So that way you don't have to stand in the back like I do, like all the way at the fountain in front of America and barely can see or hear anything.
Yeah, that's how I experience it. That's how I experience that's how I experience the Eat to the Beat concert series and all that too. Like, I just I stand up on the fountain until a cast member comes over and tells me that I have to move. But no, that is a good call. That's a really great show. You're right, and you're right. I don't know. I don't have a list of narrators for this year in front of me, but I know like Neil Patrick Harris has done it, and there's some big names that come in every year and do it.
intermixed with people that you may not know that well. I usually go for Neil Patrick Harris, for Whoopi Goldberg. I think this year Matt Bomer is doing it. He's a great actor that I like. And there's always other people that are very, very well known.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. It really is. And then there's there's Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam, Chuck. We don't want to forget about that. We know it.
I'll still see it, even though I don't love it, but I like it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cute show that they put on, really. I mean,
yeah.
And then, like you said earlier, the Sunset Seasons Greetings at Hollywood Studios is pretty cool. So,
and now this is like maybe the third year where Epcot really goes out with the booths with Christmas or Halloween themed foods. Those are pretty cool, those foods. Yes.
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
I'm excited about doing that this year. I didn't do that. I haven't been able to do that, so that's going to be fun.
No, there's a few on there. Yeah,
and I'm bringing my parents. My parents are coming with us this year, so that's going
to be. Have they been Christmas time?
Have they ever been? I don't think they have. No.
Well, yeah.
So it's going to be exciting for them. They've come for Marathon Weekend with us a couple times.
Yeah, it's not the same because it's just a decoration. There's nothing else.
Right, nothing else is going on. So so that'll be cool. So so Chuck, this was a lot of fun, and thank you as always. And you weren't as cynical as you usually are. So I
tell you, take advantage. Record more podcasts with me between now and January 1st, because then I go back to being cynical Chuck for 10 months.
And I'll just save them to spread them out throughout the year. I would love to actually sit down with you for seriously, for 4 hours and record 4 episodes at some point. But I gotta
while you're here.
We definitely should do a podcast recording from the parks while I'm there.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a few times and we've never gotten to do it. I would love to finally do that.
I know. You know what it is? It's like every time one of my kids is sick.
Yeah, something always happens. Yeah, either one of you all is always sick, because it's impossible for the Gramlich family to go on vacation without half of the family being sick as heck.
It's true.
Or I have something going on with work or something. So hopefully this time it'll happen.
Or you just stand us up like you do every other time that we come down. You're like, I'll be at Mexico Pavilion at 3:00, and then we just wait there for hours, and then we get a text at 6:30, sorry, I didn't feel like seeing you today. Now
I got a better offer with something.
Yeah, something came up. I went to Mall Millennia. Anyway, Chuck, thank you. This is a lot of fun, and we got to record more often because I'm bad at this, but we'll record again. Thank you, and Merry Christmas early, but it feels like the Christmas season already.
Remember, I put up my Christmas tree on November 5th. I'm done. I'm ready.
You're
I already started Christmas shopping. I already have a few presents. I haven't wrapped them yet, but I already got them.
Well, yeah. We don't do any of that stuff. I still have a pumpkin on my porch, so we're pretty bad. Anyway, Chuck, thanks again.
Thank you.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. Thank you so much once again to my friend, to my co-host, my guest, whatever you want to call him. Well, we'll call him my friend still, Mr. Chuck Rodriguez. It's always a blast to have Chuck on the show. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, Chuck and Christmas just go together so well. Chuck and Christmas are like peanut butter and jelly or spaghetti and meatballs. They're both fine on their own, but when you put them together, that's where the magic happens. So thank you again to Chuck for being on. Like I said, it's always a blast. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the look back at the Christmases past of Walt Disney World, and also had fun looking forward or looking ahead to what's going on in Walt Disney World this year for Christmas. Like I said at the outset of the show, Christmas is one of my favorite times ever to be in Walt Disney World. So if you are thinking about taking a trip over the holidays, let me know. I'd love to help you plan your trip. I will be the Yukon Cornelius to your Rudolph and Herbie. I'll help you get there. I'll show you some cool things along the way, although I probably won't fight a Bumble or an abominable snowman for you. I still can prove to be kind of a popular and fun guide. Okay, usually I save the tangents for during the show, not the conclusion. So, again, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, please just tell someone about it. You gotta have a Christmas fan in your family or among your friends. Tell them about this episode. Send them the link in an email or a text. It's Listen, technology makes it super easy to share the show, so please tell someone about it, and thank you so much again for listening. Thank you in advance for telling anyone about the show. It is, as I always say, greatly appreciated, and thank you in advance, and I really appreciate you listening and taking the time. And you should listen to this one again in December, because it's only November now as I'm recording this, but you'll want to have that Christmas music and the sounds and all that stuff back in life in December. Okay, I'm rambling again. All right. Just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning, as well as a new episode of the Ear to There podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. That'll be each and every Wednesday morning. So until next time, have a phenomenal week. Have a very Merry Christmas. I know it's early, but I'm saying it anyway. Bye-bye.